Now let me just brief you as to how we have designed this particular module. And before I brief you about this particular module, let me give a brief introduction about myself and narrate a small example from my own life. So that is just to make you understand that to be successful in this examination, it is not just about the hard work. You need to do a little bit of smart work as well. And that's exactly why this module has been designed. What is your name, please? Huh? Yes. Ilakia. What is your name? Anil. All right. So there are some offline students in front of me. The online students can also listen to this. So let me just give a brief example and then I'll just come back to what I have to discuss today. I think the online students are ready to take it up. For the students who are joined very newly, quickly, I would request all the online students who are joined recently to just download the PDF that has been sent. So just download the PDF and just go through the questions. In the meantime, you can just listen. If you have any issues with regard to downloading or joining the meeting, you can also contact the number that is given there. All right. So the idea is, as I already said, to be successful in this examination, it is not only about what? It is not only about the hard work. I think most of the sincere candidates are putting their hard work. But it's a competitive examination. So how do you outsmart the other students? So you'll have to be a little bit smart in your preparation. So I would just put a small narration from my own life, which I've gone through a very tough time, and then how I was able to succeed in this examination. And to that, I just wanted to say that it is not to just to say that I've cleared this examination multiple times, but just to give an example of what has happened in my life. So I have cleared this examination 3 times. To be very specific, I have cleared this examination in 2013, civil service examination. Again, I have cleared this examination in 2016, and again, I have got a rank in 2017 as well. So 3 times I have been successful in the civil service examination. And even before that, in 2009, in the Central Armed Police Forces examination, I have also cleared it. So, but how I was able to clear consistently is not that every time I have worked extremely hard. Yes, I have worked hard, no doubt in that. I have worked hard and I worked for it. And I worked for it in the initial days where I did not get the success. Till 2012, I started my preparation in 2009, but I have extremely worked hard till 2012. That means I spent 3-4 years working very hard without any results. And that is when I realized that it requires a little bit of smart work also to clear this examination, not just about the hard work. And I was also forced to do that. There was a situation that I could not find much time. So because what happened in my life is in 2009, I gave the CAPF examination. I'll not take much of your time just to make you understand how smart work is really important. In 2009, I started my preparation for the civil service. After preparing for a year, in the year 2000, in the end of 2009, I gave my CAPF examination. In the CAPF examination, I was successful. I came out with an All India rank 37. And in the meantime, I was also preparing for the civil service. And because I could not clear the civil service, I joined the CAPF examination and I continued my preparation. I joined my CAPF examination in 2011 and continued, and I kept working really hard. Whatever time that I found, I was preparing for this examination. But unfortunately, there was no success in civil service examination. CAPF is a different story. Yes, I succeeded, good thing. But civil service examination is an entirely different story. And then I was also appointed as an assistant commandant. So the time that I had was really less. And that's when I realized that doing the same thing is not going to help me. So I have to be a little bit smart in my preparation. And that is when I started making a little bit of research as to how to clear this examination. Is it doing the same thing is going to help me, or do I have to make some kind of research? Because I understood that I always had the content. But then I'm not able to deliver in the examination because of the volume of this examination. And that's when I realized that you need to have some kind of focused preparation. Focused preparation, especially before your prelims. You should understand what exactly is important. Where is exactly the questions are coming. And based on that, I've devised this particular module. So I'm not going to take much of your time. This module overall will be 40 hours maximum. Maybe 13 to 15 classes is what we are planning. maybe 2 to 2.5 hours every class, maximum 40 hours. But I'm sure that if you be with me, if you prepare well, if you revise the classes, you can get up to 40 to 50 marks from this particular module. I'm not saying that you'll have to take all the 50 marks. Our idea is to get 80 to 90% of the marks. You never work for 100%. 100% is never going to help you. You try to maximize wherever you are able to maximize. So even if you get 80 to 90% of the marks, which I'm very sure that that is how I have devised this entire module, to make sure that the students who are joining this particular course, they'll get 80 to 90% of the questions right from Indian polity, policies, and schemes. So let me just break you through as to how this module has been devised. So just a couple of more minutes, you will understand as to how I'm going to take it up. And what are the deliverables in this particular course? You will understand that how it is going to be extremely good for all the students. Okay, so just have an idea as to how we are going to divide. But before I proceed, let me just break up the entire syllabus. If you see the entire syllabus, there are just 8 to 10 themes, not more than that. These 8 to 10 most important topics has been asked again and again. And the various subtopics from these topics has been asked again and again. All right. So what are those important areas? So let us try to understand the important areas. For the polity, then international relations, and then the policies and schemes. I'll just try to break it up, just focus here. This is the most important thing. For polity, not more than 8 important topics are very, very important. I'll tell you from where the questions are coming. So first topic is the executives, and which is what we are going to start today. And you know that in the executives topic, what are all the subtopics under the executives? You have president, you have vice president, you have the prime minister and the council of ministers. And apart from that, you have the chief minister and the council of ministers. And apart from that, you have the attorney general and the advocate general. Right? So how many questions? Just make an analysis of how many questions are coming from these topics. You can understand the maximum and the minimum question. So I'll put both the things. So here you can expect 1 to 3 questions. Minimum 1 questions will come from this particular area. And maximum you can expect up to 3 questions. But I'm not someone who can exactly guess that. So it's based on my analysis of last 10 to 15 years. All right. And then the legislature. So today it is just to make you understand how you are going to take up this. And of course, I'll teach some of the things, but first try to understand as to how we are going to take up this particular module. Legislature. So here there is topic of parliament and state legislature. So here you can expect 3 to 5 questions. So minimum 3 questions as per the trend of UPSC, and maximum as it can go up to 5 questions. And then the next important topic is judiciary, where the questions are mainly coming from the areas of Supreme Court and High Courts. Minimum 1 question, it can go up to 3 questions is what you can expect from this area. Now you see, even if you cover these 3 topics, the executives, the legislature, the judiciary, you can see here how many questions you are covering, 5 to 9 questions. So 3 topics you cover, which means it has a lot of other topics, subtopics, of course. But once you do that, 5 questions are in your hand, minimum 5 questions. And then it may extend up to 9 questions. So that is how you are going to do this. And if you see in executives, you just look into the question paper. So this is not just a random thing that I'm saying. I've made a lot of research. Every year questions are coming from the election of president. Okay, can someone tell me the latest presidential election that has happened? What is the latest president election that has happened? I mean, how many presidential election has happened till this point of time? Who is the president of India? Mrs. Draupadi Murmu, and she is numbered as how many president has been elected before Draupadi Murmu? She is 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th president of India. She is the 16th president of India. And it has happened recently. So election of president is a topic which is repeatedly asked. Electoral college of the president. What is the value of who are part of the electoral college? What is their value? Questions have been repeatedly coming from these areas. What is the discretionary power of the president? And similarly, if you go to the governor, what is it? So, okay, here one more important topic is the governor also. So you have governor, and the governor has been very controversial this year. So you can definitely expect a question from governor. So what I'll do is when I go about these executives, now the point is for the student, the preparation becomes so bulky because you follow a particular book. Probably most of the students, I think you read Lakshmikant book, and which is very bulky. And Lakshmikant as a book, you see, it's a book. How it has been made is it has consolidated all the questions that has been asked in UPSC for the last 30-40 years. But for someone who is setting the question paper in UPSC, they are not going to read Lakshmikant. So for the exam setter, so from where they make the question is that probably the source is the Constitution of India. So that is exactly that what I'm going to do, because for the students, it becomes extremely difficult to revise Lakshmikant. But I'll directly teach you from the Indian Constitution, the important areas where definitely the questions are likely to come. So this class of 40 hours probably will have a handout of around 50-60 pages, which I'm very sure that you can revise it in a day if you attend this particular course. And then your revision becomes extremely easier. And that is exactly where most of the students are not able to do that when they go for the UPSC prelims test. All right. So now, similarly, there are a few areas from the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. There are certain areas like who appoints them, what are their powers and functions. From the governor, what are their discretionary powers? Can a governor be appointed for 2 or more state? Can his salary be reduced? So these are the areas usually questions does come. And if you talk of legislature, again, 3 to 5 questions, very important area, especially from the bills, money bills, financial bills, constitutional amendment bills, question from the topic of budget, annual financial statement, questions from the areas of the speaker, the presiding officers, powers comparison between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So these are the areas which has been repeatedly asked, which I'm going to discuss everything as we'll proceed. Judiciary, the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, appointment of judges, jurisdiction of high courts, ad hoc judges, temporary judges. So these are the areas usually questions come from. And then once we do this, then we go to an important area. So here you can see already we are covering 5 to 9 questions, which I'll do it in say 10 to 12 hours, not more than that. Quickly, I'll cover all those things. And then the next important area is preamble. And then you have union and its territories, citizenship, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, and fundamental duties. Now, you need to have a different approach. The students also do not understand as to what is approach for the prelims and mains. So here exactly I'll take you to the prelims approach. Otherwise, this topic becomes extremely bulky. So here today UPSC is asking minimum 5 to 7 questions from this particular area. So which again I can cover this particular area in say around 8 to 10 hours. It won't take more than that particular time. So probably in 2-3 classes, I'll be able to cover these things, which will revise you completely all those things. And then apart from that, you have certain smaller topics. Say, for example, the topics like center-state relationship. And then you have topic like local bodies, constitutional and statutory bodies, and apart from that, you have the constitutional and statutory bodies. You have Representation of People Act, RPA, Representation of People Act. So this is again, I'll club all these things. So probably it will take me around 2 classes probably to cover all those things. So here you can expect 1 to 3 questions, minimum 1 question I can say. It can go up to 3 questions also, maybe a little more also, we do not know. So this is one area that we will cover. This is one area, this is one area, this is one area, this is one area. Apart from this, I would say apart from this, the important thing is like important articles. And then you have important amendments. And schedules. So 1 to 2 question is going to come definitely from this particular area, which I'll cover it in a class. And then finally, we have certain miscellaneous topics as well. So even let us assume that we are not able to do this miscellaneous topics. We will do it. I'm not saying we'll not cover this. Let us assume 1 to 2 questions are coming from this miscellaneous area. So that is exactly what I'm saying is that we should focus on where we can actually cover and actually where we'll be able to get the benefit. Now see that this is how I'm going to take up the polity. I'll start with the executives and I'll go to the legislature. I'll cover up the judiciary. Then I'll take up preamble, union territory, citizenship, fundamental rights, DPSB, fundamental duties, center-state relationship, all from the prelims perspective. Anything added in the current affairs, I'll just include that during our discussion itself. But keep this in your mind. For the prelims, 80 to 90% of the question is going to be from your conventional areas. When it comes to polity, not much questions are coming from the current affairs. But as when it comes to mains, probably the approach could be a little different. But here, the entire course is specifically designed for the prelims examination. So here you should know the constitutional provisions. You should know the various issues. Probably if something is happening with regard to governor, probably what are the constitutional provisions on which the issues are happening rather than the current issue itself. All right. So this is how I am planning this examination. Now see how many questions are here. I'll just take up the least count and then I'll go to the maximum count. Probably 1. Then you have 3 questions, 4, 5, 5 plus 5, you have 10, and then 10 plus. So just make a count. 1, 3, 5, 5 plus 5, 10, 11. Probably you have, then you have 12. So probably you have 13. So 13 is the minimum question. I'm just a very conservative count. This is a very, very conservative count. And if you take the maximum, so probably 3, 5, you have 8, 11, 11 plus 7, probably 18, 18 plus 3, 21, 21 plus 2, 23, 25. So probably this is the maximum. So it is just between, let us assume 13 to 25. So even let us assume that you have 18 questions from these areas. Again, this is not a very liberal count. It's a very conservative count. So 15 to 80 questions every year it is asked in UPSC examination from these areas. So let us assume even if it is 18 questions, your idea should be getting 90% of the questions right here. Your idea is not to get 100 or 80 to 90%. That is what is a smart move. So do not try to spend too much of time in a particular subject. Even if you get 80%, so probably you end up getting 15 to 16 questions right. And after that, you should not worry. You should just move on to the other subjects. So this is exactly what I'm going to do. So from in all these topics, I'm not just going to do whatever is already there in your Latchmikant. I'm directly going to do it from the Indian Constitution. So probably you'll have the very crux of the notes in your hand so that you'll be able to revise it. All right. So how are I'm going to plan that? So every class you'll get a handout. And every class you'll have a practice questions as well. From whatever questions that I'm going to solve, probably 10 to 15 practice questions will be given to you. And I wanted you to practice that in the class. I'll give 5 minutes before the start of the class, but probably after the class is over, I wanted student to solve all those questions so that your conceptual area will get clarified. So once I cover all these topics, then I'll take a couple of class to go through the last 5 years of previous year questions. So I'll discuss last 5 years of previous year questions probably in 2 classes. So that will give a conceptual understanding from all these areas again. So probably what is expected is, so still the syllabus is not over. Okay, I'll just complete what I'm planning for the policies, schemes, as well as the international relations. Okay, so there that is over. And then off late, if you see policies and schemes, the second topic that we will be dealing with once we complete polity, policies and schemes, which can also extend to some of the important acts and all those things, which can have an impact on the society. So this is an area where UPSC is asking minimum 1 to 2 questions. Again, a conservative note. And from where the questions are coming in policies and schemes, especially policies related to health, policies related to education, policies related to poverty alleviation, policies related to skill development, policies related to digital India, policies related to tribals and the other vulnerable sections, policies related to social justice areas. So here again, I will touch upon some 30 to 40 schemes along with certain important acts, which will empower you to solve these 1 or 2 questions as well. And then the last thing that I'm going to teach is the international relations. International relations area, again, specifically related to the prelims. And if you take international relations, again, I have made an analysis in the last 10 years where the questions are exactly coming in the international relations. Questions come from the areas like places in news, and the reasons as to why they are in news, important summits, like G20 or ASEAN, where India have an interest. So this is an area where the questions come from. And then apart from United Nations organization and its agencies, anything which is there in news, and then certain things related to significant events at the international level. Any connectivity projects at the international level. Any major developments in bilateral and global multilateral relationship. Okay, so what is the advantages that although I have given the subtopics, please give her a handout. Okay, although try to understand that. So although you may know that, okay, these are the areas where the question is likely to come. But as a student, it is extremely difficult for you to make a research and to identify these areas. It becomes extremely difficult. And that's exactly what we are planning to do. We'll make that research. We'll give you the handout. We'll discuss most of these important things in the class itself. We'll just actually get the essence of all these things. So how many questions you can expect here? 5 to 6 questions. You can expect it from here. Okay, so in the polity part, how many questions I said? It is minimum, say, from 15 to 25 questions. Minimum is 15, probably maximum it can go up to 25 questions. And if you just add 15, 1, you have 16, and 16 plus 5, you have 21 questions minimum. This is the minimum that I'm saying because we need to have both the count. So minimum, I'm saying 21, and it can go up to maximum how much? So 25 plus 2, 27, and plus 6, it can go up to 33. So I'm not saying that there will be 33 questions, but it can be somewhere between this. So suppose let us assume it is 23 questions, 24 questions, 25 questions, whatever, but definitely not less than 21 or 20 questions. Which means this course will actually help you to go through, say, let us assume from, I would put it to be 42 marks or somewhere between, say, 55 marks. And even if you take an average, which is likely to end up somewhere between 47 or 48. I'm not saying that you'll have to get all the 47 or 48 marks. Let us focus for 80% of this. Let us focus for, say, 90% of this. If you are good enough, even 80% of the marks will land up you somewhere between 40 to 42 marks. And what is the course time? The course time is approximately going to be 40 hours. And probably then, yes, you'll have to keep revising. You'll have to keep revising. So probably it will take you another 2-3 days. If you get all the things that I'm going to teach in the class, it will take another, say, couple of days for you to revise before the examination if you do your work properly. And that makes your revision extremely, extremely easier. So most of the students are not able to do well in the examination because their revision becomes extremely difficult. And that's because their material is not consolidated. So you read the 𝐏𝐫𝐞𝐥𝐢 book for the entire year, but you cannot read it and completely revise it. I'm not saying you cannot do it, but it becomes extremely difficult. You have to be so organized. But if you have a crisp material which is covering most of the things which is there in the Indian Constitution, most of the important policies and schemes, most of the things which is relevant to the international relations, which is prelims perspective, and that will be extremely, extremely useful for you at the time of the prelims examination. And that's why this course has been specifically designed. All right, so this is what I wanted to do. So I think I have the students have gone through the questions that I given. Online students, have you gone through? And just to add up whatever I've been telling, this is exactly what I have done during my preparation. This was exactly what I have been done during my preparation that actually helped me to clear the prelims in 2013. And the moment I cleared the prelims, I was able to clear the mains also because I've done a focused approach for the mains also. I did not read all the things, but whatever I read, I did properly. I'm not saying that you should not read all the things, but whatever you read, it has to be based on certain research that you do, understand how the questions are asked in UPSC. I was able to clear the mains that year. and I have gone through the interview process. I was successful in the interview also. Not only that year, again, I applied the same principle in 2016. I was successful in 2016. I applied the same principle in 2017. I was successful in 2017. So it is something which is tried and tested, and definitely you can benefit out of this. Okay. So it requires you to be a little smarter. At the same time, yes, you have to hard work. There's no substitute for that. And you need to be smarter also to succeed in this examination. So the point here is we are planning for 40 marks minimum out of this particular course. So that is the nutshell that I wanted to convey. All right, I just wanted the students to just go through the handouts. Have you gone through the questions? Okay, can anyone tell me, including both the online and offline students, how many of you comfortable with probably 50% of the questions? How many of you think, yes, I can solve 50% of the questions? Because the topic is a very simple topic. The topic I picked initially is a very, very simple topic. It is the union executive. I think it is one of the easiest topic I would say in the entire polity. How many questions are there? Can you just tell me the count? I think 12 questions. 12 questions. So how many are you comfortable out of the 12 questions? I mean, you think. You're thinking that you are right in 7 questions. Yes, I think Anil, what is your name? How many questions you are comfortable with? 8, 9 questions. You think you are comfortable with. We are not sure whether it is right or wrong. So that we'll understand as we'll proceed. Yes, how many questions you are comfortable with? 50%. Be frank about it. Nothing. So have you gone through the questions? Okay, we're going through it. Okay. Online students, can you just give your comments how many questions you are comfortable with? So probably why I'm asking this is, so probably you'll understand that whatever you think right may be wrong as we will discuss through the topics. Okay, so for the online students who joined, just go to the mail communication and wherever the link was shared in the same link to attend the meeting, there is also PDF that is attached. Please download the PDF quickly. Please download that PDF. I hope all the students have got the PDF. It is very important that you have the PDF with you. So kindly download the PDF. Just go through it.